Alright, let's do this one last time. My name is Drew Dodger, and for the last couple months, I've been doing a podcast with my good buddy, Jacob Herron. While we love film in general, with us being artists and all, we have a fascination with animation, and we decided to start an audio podcast after we both geeked out over the animated Transformers movie. We're not perfect, we've gotten names wrong, and we don't always agree on movies. But at the end of the day, we try to bring an informative and entertaining show to you all, and we'd like to welcome you to The Cellcast. Happy New Year! Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me this morning is a man who, I guess really this afternoon, but anyway, joining me is a man who has a strange fascination with fish, Jacob.
Why, thank you, and I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who just happened to believe there are no cats in America. Welcome, Drew.
That can't be right because I live in America and I had 3 cats.
How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. We've had a very interesting, what has been 2 weeks?
Pretty much.
We've sat behind the mics and started talking more about animation. We've had a very fascinating last 2 weeks with Christmas and New Year's, coming back to back, going to see family, enjoying family, enjoying presents.
Starting a new podcast.
Yes, if you guys are interested in that, go and check that out. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Other than that, it's been a very interesting journey as just kind of like our character in our movie we're going to review today.
Yeah.
It's been pretty good. So, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Well, that is a very good question. I've been watching I've been trying to get started back into Clone Wars since we now have, 2 months until season 7 starts?
I didn't know that.
I believe that was just announced yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's about how long we've got till then, so I've got to catch up on the 3 seasons I haven't watched yet.
Oh, okay.
I watched, on the other podcast, we recently recorded... Well, I'm not going to get into that, but essentially, I just recently watched Apocalypse Now for the first time.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for that review on the other show, but...
At some point in the future.
Yeah, but after watching that, I remembered I kept thinking, there's something about this is familiar. And I remembered that there was an episode of Animaniacs that was a parody of Apocalypse Now.
Wow.
Called Hearts of Darkness.
Okay, based out of the title of the book.
Yeah. I think this is the first time since I originally saw this season 1 episode, who knows how many years ago, that I actually understood the jokes. My word, it's a crazy thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Give that a look if you get a chance, because if you've ever seen Apocalypse Now, because that'll just blow your stinking mind that they pulled this off in a cartoon for kids in the 90s. Of course, we know how censorship was back then, but still.
Yeah. All I gotta say is, I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
The horror.
Anyway.
What have you been watching?
Man, last 2 weeks, I got to watch actually both shows I've watched are on Netflix, so go check them out if you're interested. The first one is a series. It's called Anohana, The Flower We Saw That Day. Mm-hmm. And absolutely amazing show actually. Yeah. That centers around these former friends who are visited by the spirit of their dead friend, which happened. She died over 5 years ago. And now she's come back and she's only able to be seen by one person. And so now it's his job to kind of get them all back together to grant her one wish. Okay. And the last episode, Bill, I'm not kidding, I'm not joking around with it. I bawled like a baby. It was so good. Such a good show. And yeah, I would highly recommend it. If anybody who's watched it, it's still on Netflix, so go watch it. The second one is actually part of the group we're both with on Facebook. What is the group called again?
Are you referring to the 100? Which one are you referring to?
100 movie.
100 movie challenge?
Yeah, 100
2020?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, I saw this one. And I saw a review over it. I can't remember who was on YouTube, and he mentioned it, and I was like, oh, okay, we'll give it a shot. And it's called The Silent Voice, the movie, and it's also on Netflix. And it's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's very similar to Haunted, except you're not getting visited by a ghost. It's basically someone being haunted by their past of what they did, and it deals with a young man who is struggling with his struggling in depression, what he's done, and a deaf girl.
Oh,
and it's how they kind of they both blame themselves for what happened, and so it's learning to grow past what happened in the past, and it's a really good show. It's a really good show, and I would highly recommend watching it. It's a little bit slow. The first act is really good, really intense. The second act kind of drags because you're having to rediscover what everyone's doing and how people mature, and some maybe in one character who hasn't matured yet.
Okay.
And it's a interesting journey. It's a very interesting journey because they use they put an X over the other characters in which our main character does have no affiliation with. And so, yeah, let's just say it's a good film.
Right, I'm not trying to rush it.
No.
I don't want to go too long.
No, I understand. So, yeah. The Silent Voice, the movie, yeah, definitely go watch it.
All
right.
So, what's in the news?
All right. So, I've got a few things here for the news. Apparently, Mr. Miyazaki will not stay retired.
Now, there's a surprise. This is the third time he's come back after he's retired.
Yeah. So apparently, Studio Ghibli has announced 2 new animation feature films to be put out in 2020 with the iconic director Hayao Miyazaki helming the project known as How Do You Live? Nothing is currently known about the film, but it's expected to be released around the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. And there's no current information regarding the second film that was announced, but only that it's being directed by Miyazaki's son, Goro Miyazaki.
Okay.
All right. And so our second bit of news
will probably be to those movies in 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they're supposed to be released
probably longer, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll watch them, but we probably won't review them until we catch up to that in Miyazaki month.
Yeah, that is true.
Which won't be for another 5 or 6 years, I'm guessing.
Roughly. All right. We'll eventually get there. All right.
Eventually.
All right. So, now, as most people know, I get my information from animationmagazine.com. So, if you want to back check this information, go ahead. According to that same site, the box office winners for 2019, and I'm going to give you only the top 5, is primarily Disney, like usual.
No, that's not a surprise.
No.
They put out the most animation.
That is true. You get the, quote-unquote, the live action, giving you air quotes here, of the live action Lion King remake. Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Frozen 2, and number 3.
Odd that that's not higher, but okay.
Yeah, that's very shocking. Number 4, How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World.
Okay.
By DreamWorks. At number 5, The Secret Life of Pets by Illumination.
Weird.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I definitely say...
I mean, admittedly, you've already gone through the heavy hitters already. So there can't be that much left.
Yeah. The only sad part, it actually be like it beat out the Lego Movie 2 at number 6 and Spider-Verse at 8.
I'm assuming they didn't start counting these numbers until January 1st.
I would presume so.
Because it made $12 million in a day. Yeah,
that's fairly impressive.
I think overall gross in the U.S. alone over $120 million overall. So there's no way that's beat out by The Secret Life of Pets.
I don't know.
1 or 2.
Yeah, either way. But yeah, that's all I've got in the news so far.
Okay. So let's get into the spoiler-free section of our review of An American Tail here at the beginning of Don Bluth Month.
Yes. Oh.
Your thoughts.
My thoughts. Man, this was a film that I thoroughly enjoyed as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I remembered some of it, but forgot half of it like you do as a kid.
Yeah.
And revisiting it again, it was a joyful, very dark movie, like any Don Bluth film. For the most part, it's very dark.
Oh, yes. I mean, it starts off with some of the scariest imagery I think I've ever seen in a kid's movie.
Yeah, that's true.
With cats killing mice in Russia.
Yeah. Well, things are kind of hard in Russia anyway.
Yeah. Why did the Cossack cats sound like dogs?
That's a very good question.
I guess this really was more lions, but the first thought that came across my mind was dogs. But anyway.
Yeah, it was a very odd choice, and it's like, that didn't sound like a cat at all. But,
no, but
either way. Yeah, enjoyable film. The journey of our main character, Fievel, and having to correct myself from saying Fievel when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. His journey of trying to find his family and
missing them at every turn.
Yes, and well, I'll touch into a few more things in our spoiler-free review of this film later on. Mm-hmm. But as I enjoyed this film. It's definitely family friendly to an extent. Being this is a Don Bluth movie, it's going to be really, really dark.
Oh yes.
What are your thoughts, Drew?
I mean, it's a very fun movie. Like most Don Bluth films, it's a little more adult than you expect it to be. A little more of a grown-up thing. It's very much we respect the kids to put up with the evil thing just so we can have fun later on.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie, don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's you kind of forget the darker tones that this movie has, which is probably why I kind of forgot about half to 3/4 of this movie since I saw it the one or two times I saw it as a kid.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, I prefer the sequel to this
yes,
movie.
I think most people do.
Yeah, because it's a lot more fun and not as... Anyway, it's a good, fun movie, and I would suggest it to most people. Just keep in mind, with kids, it's going to be darker than you probably remember if you've seen it before. And
some of the films that we're going to review in this month, definitely The Secret of Nim is exceedingly dark.
Which I haven't ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I think I saw it as a kid, but kind of like American Tail. Mm-hmm. I remember very little of the film, but I remember it just being very dark and very scary.
Right.
And oddly enough, the next film that we're watching is the first film I saw in theaters. The next film we're reviewing. But anyways, so let's go into our spoiler-free review.
Do you mean spoiler-filled?
Spoiler-filled. I apologize.
Yes.
Spoiler-filled.
Yes.
Section of American Tail.
The following is a spoiler-filled review of An American Tail. Listener discretion is advised. An American Tail was directed, of course, by Don Bluth. Mm-hmm. He, at one time, his very first role as a director was he was the animation director, uncredited, on the original Pete's Dragon.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
The screenplay and story was written by Judy Freudberg and Tony Geiss. I am probably mispronouncing those names. My apologies. They were both writers on Sesame Street at one time.
Huh.
Also writing the story was David Kirshner, who was a producer on the movie Hocus Pocus.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The music was by James Horner, and the main thing I recognize that name from is his uncredited composing role for the music to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek III, The Search for Spock.
Huh.
The cast I have in the order they appeared, because that's the order it was on IMDb.
All right.
For the primary Mouskowitz family, I'm just going to let you know right now, they were mostly extras in everything they were in, having small roles. But I did at least find some things. Erica Jahn played Mama Mouskowitz. And the thing I saw that some people might recognize is in the movie Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which I have not seen. She played Madame Ruby. I'm guessing you hadn't seen it either.
No.
Okay, good. So I'm not alone.
Okay.
Nehemiah Persoff played Papa Mouskowitz. And I just have written that he was in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Nothing that stood out to me that people might recognize him from.
All right.
Amy Green played Tanya Mouskowitz, Fievel's sister. And the thing I saw that she was in that I thought was kind of a funny title, and this is one of the things, that, you know how on IMDb it lists what they're known for?
Yeah.
Well, after An American Tale, it listed Newhart, where she played Ranger Girl.
Okay.
I feel sorry for her.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. And then Philip Glasser, of course, played Fievel Mouskowitz. And in a movie called a television show called Hang Time, this was his most prolific role on IMDb.
Yeah.
He played a character named Eugene Brown.
Eugene Brown.
I have never even heard of this show. It's just that was the thing he had the most credits for outside of An American Tale.
Huh.
So now that we've gone over the 4 people whose names you probably don't recognize, not to be mean, here's a name you will definitely recognize.
All right.
Christopher Plummer played Henri. You know, the pigeon. Supposedly building the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. He's building the Statue of Liberty.
Yes. In The Sound of... Sorry. Backing up. In Knives Out, he plays Harlan Thrombey, which, since I have now seen that movie, I can tell you that is the guy who gets murdered in that movie. They're trying to solve the murder. Trying to solve who.
Oh, okay.
In The Sound of Music, he played Captain Von Trapp.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And because I have to bring up a Star Trek reference if I know it.
Of course.
In Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, my favorite Star Trek movie, he plays General Chang, the villain.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He has been in Klingon prosthetics.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Anyway.
I gotcha.
John Finnegan played Warren T. Rat. And apparently in the television show Columbo, he played Barney.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Will Ryan plays Digit. You know, the little cockroach that does all his calculations.
Yeah, that's right.
And apparently he played Petrie in The Land Before Time.
Oh, okay.
And a seahorse in The Little Mermaid.
Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha.
Hal Smith plays Mo. You know, the guy that was running the sweatshop for the kid.
Yeah, the sweatshop which Fievel gets thrown into.
Yeah, 2 houses above. Where his family is living.
Yeah, literally they go past their door.
Yeah. He was Owl. He was Owl in The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
And if you've ever watched the Andy Griffith Show, he plays town drunk Otis Campbell.
Wow. Okay.
Pat Music plays Tony Taponi. That's the friend that renames him Philly.
Yeah, Philly. Hey, Philly!
Yeah, he played the teacher in a recent DreamWorks movie, Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Oh, yeah, that's a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Catherine Bloor plays his girlfriend, Bridget. And apparently, in the old cartoon, Jim and the Holograms, which I hear is truly outrageous.
Yeah.
I had to get that pun in there. She played Aha Leith, Kimber Bitten, and Ashley, which I'm assuming are actually all the same character. But I don't know, because I never watched Jim and the Holograms.
Me either. And for
all I know, that's the Misfits that were all the bad guys, which I could see them all being sung by one person.
Well, according what I read on animationmagazine.com, apparently, I think it was like one of them died. I don't remember one of them recently died. One of them recently died.
But it's not this one.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Neil Ross plays Honest John.
That name sounds really familiar.
Well, it should for you.
Okay.
He played Bone Crusher, Hood, Springer, and Slag in The Transformers, the movie.
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense.
I had to feel like that was the pick. Madeline Kahn plays Gussie Mouseheimer.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie Blazing Saddles, she plays Lily Von Stupp.
Wow.
And in my favorite Halloween movie that I watch every year, Young Frankenstein, she plays Elizabeth.
Okay. Very interesting.
And last, but most certainly not least, Dom DeLuise plays Tiger.
Oh, Tiger.
And because I had just looked up a bunch of Mel Brooks movies, I went with his Mel Brooks movie role. In Spaceballs, he plays Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut.
Which I did not realize that was Dom DeLuise when I watched it.
So, basically, in summary, all of our main characters are
people you've never heard of before, while everyone on the sidelines had major careers.
Wow, okay, that's interesting.
So it's backwards from how this list usually goes.
Yeah, usually.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So, do we go into your part and then the synopsis?
You
usually do this part and I kind of zone out because I'm usually looking at the computer.
Yeah, let's we'll do my part and then we'll go into synopsis. Okay. So to give our audience a little bit of who this Don Bluth is, because we've actually done one of his films before, Anastasia.
I have better opinions of this movie than I did Anastasia, for those of you who are worried.
Okay, then. All right, so Don Bluth, born September 13th, 1937. Man, he's old.
No kid.
He's an American animator, film director, producer, writer, designer, video game designer, animation instructor. He's also known for his directing animation classes such as Secret of Nim, Our Movie, American Tail, Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, and Anastasia. And also he was involved in the Laserdisc game Dragon's Lair back in 1983, I'm sorry.
And its two sequels, Dragon's Lair 2 and Dragon's Lair 3 Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp.
Yeah.
And then Dragon's Lair 3, whose subtitle I can't remember.
Yeah.
And Space Ace.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's one other one, and I can't think of the name. Anyway.
Yeah, he's
also in production to come out supposedly this year, according to IMDb. We'll see if it happens. Dragon's Lair, the movie.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see if that actually does happen. If it does, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be like he was formerly a Walt Disney production animator until like early to mid 80s when he quit and took half the animation crew from Disney and created his own studio. So this man
and it was after that they barely got The Little Mermaid out.
Yeah, that is true. And so when Disney went its dark ages, Bluth went, it's like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It took half everybody else with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the man behind the directorial of the movie we're doing for the rest of the month. And so let's get into a little bit of the budget and a few more little things about this film. All right. So this movie was production was held by Ambient Studios, which is Amblin. Sorry, yes. Amblin Studios, Amblin Entertainment. I apologize, Amblin Entertainment, which is ran primarily by Steven Spielberg, and
named after Steven Spielberg's student film. In case you didn't know,
I didn't know that, and also Sullivan Bloom Incorporated, which that is one of Don Bluth's studios. Distributed by Universal Pictures. It was released on November 21st, 1986, with a budget of $6 million. On its opening week, it grossed $5+ million. Its U.S. gross was $75 million and change, and its worldwide gross was $84 million and a chunk of change.
All right.
So yeah, it made its budget back in bunches of money.
Right.
But also the fact that every time Don Bluth did a movie, he had to close the studio and make another studio. Like every time.
That does not seem the way to run a company.
No, it's not. But apparently, I've actually watched like a documentary over him. And every time he would do a studio, he'd do one or two films and he had to shut it down and make another one. So,
That's weird.
That is weird. So
I'm gonna have to watch this documentary to find out why.
Yeah, I think you can find it on. I think it's on. Either watch it on YouTube or it was on a podcast I listened to once.
Okay.
But either way, this man has been prolific as an animator and animation director. And also he directed Titan AE, which was a movie I really enjoyed.
That's a weird movie.
It is a very weird. I've watched the movie 3 times in theaters. I know. Okay. I'm weird. I know.
That's fine. I didn't catch it till it was on home video, and I rented it one time and thought, well, that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, basically the movie that basically ended Don Bluth's career.
For now.
Anyways.
On to the synopsis.
Yeah.
Fievel Mouskowitz and his family are living in Russia until they get attacked by a horde of Cossack cats. So they make their way to Germany and get on a boat to go to America, where for some reason they believe that there are no cats. They have been lied to. In the meantime, while they're on the boat, about 5 feet from shore, essentially, which is forever in mouse dimensions, Fievel gets washed off the boat because he won't listen to his father.
Or Papa.
Papa, yes. So now his family and him will have to believed dead by his family. His parents go into New York City to try and live their life, and Fievel goes on an adventure to find his family, where they continually keep missing each other. Eventually, they do at least get rid of a few cats in America, but not all of them.
Yes.
Because at least we have Tiger, who everybody likes.
Yeah.
Who will eventually, in the sequel, go on to be a dog.
That is weird.
Tell me I'm wrong. Yes, this is a serious movie about immigration for kids.
Yes.
Also, apparently, there are no cats in America, which is complete. I already said this, but it's complete cat poop.
Yeah. It belongs in the kitty litter.
Indeed. Anyway.
All right.
What is the first thing you liked about this movie?
What I like about this? First thing I liked about this movie. All right. So my number one would actually be all of the close calls that go on through this movie. There's like, I don't know how many are in this film of where Fievel and his family basically are crossing paths and they don't notice it.
Yeah.
Just the genius of like,
it's like, look up, people.
Yeah.
Move the fat lady out of the way at the big rally. How did you not hear him? Anyway.
Yeah, it's
I recognize this. It was not a electronically amplified rally, but
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
I mean, he was up there for how long, and they still didn't see him because of the big fat lady.
Yeah, either it was the big lady or her big floof. Be like, just move her feathers.
Yes.
But
yes, Tanya, move the stinking feathers. Sorry,
but yeah, I think it's my first my first like of this film. What's yours?
The animation in this is so well done for its time.
Oh, agreed.
This came out. What'd you say? 1986.
86.
I mean, we're not quite at the Disney level of polish, mind you, even for 86. But when you consider this came out around the same time as another mouse movie that Disney put out, The Great Mouse Detective, which go check out that episode for that review.
Yeah.
Thoughts on it. Looking at the difference in how they animated the mice, I kind of like how it looks here a little bit better than how it looked there. Yeah. Now, this is a much more serious story, and they are involving much more other animals.
Yeah.
But the animation is smooth. It never throws you out of the movie like sometimes Don Bluth can do.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's still a fun movie, and I love the animation is nice. There's never a point in time where you can tell they're holding this cell while other stuff is going on. There's always animation going, which is not always the case with some stuff. Even Disney will cheat like that sometimes.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, and the early use of the CG for the shot going around the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, that was genius.
Amazing, even though I thought the blinking eye was a bit much.
Yeah,
or winking eye, actually.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that was like they were doing kind of like a rotoscope. Like just
yeah, but that looked like it was. It looked like it was handled much like the computer animation technically was done in Great Mouse Detective.
Okay.
Except it was just the rotation of them going around the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
So, and of course, they have those I'm sure they can get a hold of the dimensions of that thing and know exactly how wide everything is. So they can make a pretty accurate model of it, and then just print that out on like Great Mouse did, where they actually just printed the three-dimensional wireframes and then colored it in. That's what it looked like to me. That's the only part where you're going, okay, that's a little different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a very good use of it, and it did was a nice way to end the movie.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I would point out that with American Tell and those supplement movies throughout the 80s, literally gave Disney a run for its money.
Yes.
Like when Don Bluth opened his studios and started doing films with The Secret of NIMH, because of his efforts, nearly put the Disney Animation Studio out of business.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to shut down the animation department because of it, because they weren't selling, or they weren't selling as well as they were. But just thought I would like to bring that up. All right.
Okay. What's your second like?
All right. My second like would be the realism. The realism in this film that, it is a dark film. It doesn't shy away from, using violent tones or using, the seedy underbelly of New York City in the mouse level. You have extortioners like our villain who, pretends to be a mouse or a rat when actually he's a cat.
Or for that matter, Honest John, who is the definition of the seedy politician.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, we see his introduction scene is, it's so bad that this kid never got to vote. I'll see to it that he now gets to vote from now on. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You've got ulterior motives, but you're still better than the cat gangster who's pretending to be a rat.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, I love the idea that you have. It definitely doesn't go to the Disney route of be like, oh, everything's nice and kind except your villain.
Yeah.
Who's kind of nasty. But like everything in this movie is nasty. The fact that one, he gets thrown into a sweatshop and then he has to, navigate New York. And everybody's kind of rude and just suspicious of everybody.
Yeah.
And, obviously this is set in the early, I guess I presume probably the early 20s.
It said at the beginning, I think it said 1918, so it's before, that's going to be around World War I.
Yeah, the very end of World War I, actually.
Yeah, so that would be a good. Obviously, New York's not built up yet because it's not recovered. It's not Roaring '20s yet.
No,
it's
going to be very quickly,
very soon.
Yeah,
which ironically they'll leave before that point. But
yeah, so yeah, I thoroughly enjoy the realism of the grime and the whole. Everything's not polished. Everything's not polished. It's got this grime and grit to it that gives you this, kind of a dread of what am I stepping into? Oh my gosh, if I was going to get lost, he's going to die at some point.
Yeah.
And, there's a few points in my dislikes. I'm going to point that out sometimes. But yeah, just the seedy realism of this film and how it just makes it even worse of a good film. What's your number two?
My number two, my second The Mouse of Minsk.
The Mouse of Minsk.
Yes.
Okay.
I love how Papa tells that story of the Mouse of Minsk that would scare off cats.
Oh, yeah.
At the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And you think it's okay, he's just telling a story to get them happy for Hanukkah,
right.
bedtime story, all that stuff about this brave giant mouse that would scare off the cats.
Yeah.
See, by the time they're on the boat, you're not even thinking of that anymore.
No, you're not.
Until the very end, where it's very obvious that Fievel told Madeline Kahn Mouse that story quick, and it's I think we could do something like that.
Yeah.
And then apparently no one in the Mouskowitz family put two and two together and thought, hey, we just talked about this about 6 months ago when we were in Russia, and now we've built one. And I didn't even think of that until they finally get out of the wherever they're building it, that shed. Not shed, it was an old oddities thing on the dock.
Yeah.
Oddities museum on the dock. And you can see on the side, The Mouse of Minsk, written in English, ironically.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, now I know what this is.
Uh-huh.
It's still a bit ridiculous that a bunch of mice were able to build a giant mouse mech in pre 1920s New York, and nobody saw it. But
Everybody's too afraid of the cats, apparently.
I will let it go, considering that's not as impressive as the mice in Cinderella making her dress. So,
yeah. Mice have a tendency to do very large things for some reason.
Yeah, you kind of wonder how that happens.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Either way.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 would be... oh, yeah. So, my number 3 would actually be Fievel himself. Mm-hmm. The one... He's a little kid mouse who, like you said earlier, does not listen to his papa. He doesn't listen to anybody. He listens to his own tune. But man, this little guy is brave. Like he goes
a little too brave
for his own good,
and a little too cocky, considering what gets him thrown off the boat in the first place. Is like, oh, I'm looking for my hat. Whoop! Throws it upstairs into the water. It's like, Fievel, you just signed your almost death warrant.
Almost. But
you might have survived if you just walked up there and looked, but because you had to go after your hat.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to go see the fish.
Whoop-de-doo, you just saw fish.
Yeah.
In a barrel.
Yeah. Which oddly enough, he gets carried away by a fish off the boat. Either way, the fact
you get what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly.
Be very careful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The fact that like when Fievel hears about like, oh, these cats are attacking our house when they're in Russia. Oh my gosh, he literally just jumps out, grabs a pan, whatever, starts running after them, be like, that's a brave little mouse. And I mean, like, he's got some guts. He's a little bit stupid, but he's a kid. It's understandable. But at the same time, it's like, wow. Be like, would I find myself doing that as a kid? Probably not. But at the same time, be like, wow, this little mouse has got some guts.
Yeah.
And I think that carries through like most of the film, where he does have this he's a very brave character and willing to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time it gets him in trouble, but more often than not, it kind of helps at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fievel's bravery would definitely be my number 3.
Okay.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is a song. Most of the songs in this are kind of just okay.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, that's true.
But then you get to Somewhere Out There.
Agreed.
That one is a nostalgia trip and a half.
That is true.
Admittedly, I know the song mostly from the sequel because they reprise it in Fievel Goes West.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing this song on the radio when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a classic song, and it does kind of bring a tear to the eye.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's still just such a nice, sweet song that really encapsulates the feelings of the characters in this movie on both sides.
Okay.
That's just my feeling on it, because I just like that song, Somewhere Out There. It's just a nice song.
Yeah, and plus the animation on that film and the scene particularly is very well done.
Yes,
where they're doing this overlay of all these different elements and making them just flow in the rotation of almost a 360 shot.
Yeah,
of this movie did a lot animation wise, really well done.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going from the good to the bad.
Yes.
So what is your number 1, Drew?
My number 1 dislike. My number 1 dislike is a very good question.
All right.
Well, I'll just go with that. The rest of the music does not live up to Somewhere Out There.
Okay.
You get right down to it. I mean, you've got There Are No Cats in America.
Yeah.
That they play that one time and they bring in other people singing talking about the horrible things that happened to them with cats. Mm-hmm. But now they've all bought into the lie that somehow there are no cats in America.
Yeah.
And apparently the streets are paved with cheese. Which is like, I know what they're saying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crazy. I know that they're putting this their utopian image on
Oh yeah.
what they think America is, and of course it's never going to live up to that.
Oh yeah.
But that song just kind of comes and goes, and I don't even think about it. It's probably the only other memorable song in the movie for me, because I remember that chorus, and it will come up randomly.
Yeah.
You get most of the rest of the songs are almost not memorable. The next one that might be good is Never Say Never, and that's only because Christopher Plummer is singing.
Ah, gotcha.
And then, and that's only an okay song.
Yeah.
It's not something I would sing outside, sing along with if it was on the car radios. I was going somewhere. The same can be said with Duo, which is, the one between Fievel and Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger. Yeah.
Which the entire time, I did think somebody needs to mash up that song with scenes with Rey and Kylo Ren.
Oh gosh,
this last trilogy of Star Wars films, because that would be funny as heck.
Yes, that would. Somebody get on top of that ASAP.
Yes, indeed. And I know there's a couple other songs, but for the life of me, I can't remember what they are.
Yeah.
For a musical to have this few songs out of all the songs it has that are memorable, that's pretty sad.
That is. That is very true.
Admittedly, I'm comparing it to stuff like Frozen, in which it's got, 5 songs, and 4 of them are good?
Yeah, that's true.
Or even Frozen 2, that even though it had about 8 songs, it had 5 good ones.
Yeah, exactly. Think of most Disney songs.
Disney's very good about having stuff. I'm trying to think of non-Disney stuff that's not, Rodgers and Hammerstein. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head, so forgive me there. But this has about 3 songs out of what I think is 10 songs.
Close to that.
Around 10 songs, and only 3 of them, maybe 4 at most, have any sort of remembrance of afterward, and only 2 are singable. And I would be debatable on the second one.
Yeah.
Only one of them ever made it to the radio.
Yeah, that's true.
So, that's what to me, a musical, you're supposed to be able to have a lot of memorable songs to sing along to.
Yeah.
And this just only has really 1.5 songs.
I got
you. So,
you.
yeah. What's your number one?
Well, I think you took my point on accident. Was the songs are okay. The songs are okay. Like, I'm not going to reiterate what you just said, because that's exactly my exact points. Mm-hmm. And the soundtrack is okay. Be like, it's done by Horner.
Well, that's the thing is, while I know James Horner did the score, I could not find in my research who wrote the songs, because the songs are always credited differently from the score.
Yes.
His score is fine.
Yeah. I think
but Horner, whoever wrote the songs just did not do that well. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with you on that. And definitely I'm going along to with your tune on the number one of, like, the songs are okay and they're not exactly memorable, all except for Somewhere Out There.
Yeah.
Is the song that kind of pops in your head. But there again, and the animation behind those songs is amazing. What's your number 2?
My number 2 dislike is actually our villain.
Oh, okay.
Warren T. Rat, for what he is, has one scene that's supposed to his character is supposed to be the guy that makes you feel like you're going like he's a good guy.
Oh,
and then completely backstabs you and puts you in heck. They put the backstabbing a little too fast.
Yeah.
Throwing him in the sweatshop.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he's actually a cat, while it makes sense that's not revealed until the end.
Right.
It doesn't. He's a disappointment. He doesn't get much time to villainize. If you're going to, as a villain, he doesn't get much time to be a villain. He has one dastardly thing he does at the beginning. So he's like, oh, and like immediately after that, you get all these other things where that are one-time hits. It's like, why is this guy the one we're focusing on as the villain in the climax when he's only had one other scene?
Yeah,
and they've only talked about him one other time.
Yeah, he's basically underdeveloped villain.
He's an underdeveloped villain. I mean, the actor who plays him does a very good job with what he's given, but the fact that he's even a cat at the end is not even that shocking, to be honest. I mean, the animation of him taking the nose off and then undoing the thing that lets his ears go, that's cool.
That is really good, yes.
But it does not have the impact it should because we did not have him up to that point with the exception of one other scene.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it. What's your number 2 dislike?
My number 2 dislike would be what I'm calling the disappearing cheese. Things appearing and disappearing throughout scenes with no logical step behind it.
You mean like Fievel's hat that he conveniently leaves places and then all of a sudden he has it in the next scene?
Exactly. Yeah, the fact
that was my number 3.
So, be like to set it up is like Fievel gets thrown off the boat.
Yeah,
he loses his hat, and you find him in the bottle, and
with that,
with the hat.
But I will let slide.
Yeah, it wouldn't even fit his head.
Miraculously, he ends up in a bottle somewhere high on the torch of the Statue of Liberty while it's still on the ground. You know what? That's just miraculous enough. I'll let the fact that he magically got his hat back.
Yeah,
I'll put that in with that.
Yeah, but there's so many points where Fievel loses his hat. And there's a point where our Fievel's little buddy, I can't remember his name.
Tony,
literally he's talking with his crush, and he's talking with Fievel again, and he throws this cheese up, and it never comes back.
Well, he could have thrown it up, and it fell back off screen.
Yeah, but at the same time,
technically,
it looked like he was literally going to toss the cheese, but it never goes back. So there's a lot of inconsistency where items go and they don't come. Yeah, definitely like Fievel's hat, where it's just it's like he loses it and automatically teleports right back to his hand like a few scenes later, like in the where he mistakenly. Oh, okay, interesting. All right,
that was for last week.
Okay,
that I didn't turn off.
Whoops. So yeah, Fievel's hat has Fievel's hat disappears so often it's not even funny, and magically it returns to him.
Yes,
like it just teleports right back to his hand in a few scenes later after he's been through heck and back.
Yes,
he gets his hat back.
I'm going to go ahead and talk about my number 3.
Okay, go for it.
I don't mean to jump in on
no,
it's related. Ahead. It's related.
Go for it.
My number 3 specifically is the scene where he goes down into the sewer.
Yeah,
and then goes and finds out that, Warren is actually a cat. When he hears the playing of the thing and he's going over there.
Yeah, the violin, it's got to be popping.
He looks down there, he takes the hat off, sets it down.
Yeah, he leaves it.
And then leaves it, and as he goes down into it, and I'm going, Fievel, you forgot your hat. Fievel, you forgot your hat. And then 5 seconds later, you can tell it's like the animator's like, okay, yeah, he's got to have his hat. Okay, here's the hat. Where did you get this magical teleporting hat? And why is it not teleporting you back to your family?
Yeah.
If it's got this amount of powers to follow you, surely it has interdimensional travel to get where you actually are wanting to go. But no, that is not the case. It's literally animators not keeping track of their assets.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a mistake. It is a big mistake, and admittedly kids are probably not going to notice that.
No,
I'm only noticing it because I've been keeping an eye on that hat all movie long because obviously it's important.
Yeah,
it's an important thing to me. It was his Hanukkah gift. He's kept up with it. It's a part of his look.
Yeah,
as a
character,
it's part of his thing. When he leaves it somewhere, you're going, okay, where did it go?
Yeah.
How is he going to get it back? Why is he going to get it back? Because they do a lot of good jobs in many scenes where they literally thought through how he gets the hat back.
Yeah.
And then there's this scene.
Yeah, the
Where
hat
it's
is
just
literally.
he leaves the hat, walks off. 3 minutes later, he's got the hat back in his hand.
That's true.
Like they remembered. Oh yeah, he did take the hat off, didn't he?
Yes.
We'll just put it in his hand
Yeah.
so he can put it back
on
on.
Strap or something like that.
Something.
And plus, the hat doesn't fit his head.
It even doesn't even fit his head at the end when he finally figures out, oh, I can stick my ears up to hold the hat on.
That's not fitting the hat.
No, it's not. But anyway,
way.
what's your number 3 dislike?
All right. So number 3 was, how the heck did Fievel survive this movie? For how many times watching this film?
Protagonist shielding.
Yeah. Plot armor.
Pretty much.
There are so many scenes where, like, when he first gets thrown out of the ship, he's never been in the ocean.
He probably does not even know how to swim.
Exactly. So when he's floating away, Papa, and the thing that popped in my head,
How are you still above water?
Exactly. The thing that popped in my head was the ending of a Looney Tunes short. It's like, this character is dead.
Let me do it for you.
That's all, folks. He's dead.
Can he say that? Is he legally allowed to say that?
No. If this was the Warner Brothers, maybe.
Nope, this is Universal.
Yeah, we'll get to that movie eventually at some point around our first year anniversary.
Wait. Oh, that's not the one I was quoting, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I was quoting Spider-Verse.
Oh, you were. That's right. Never mind.
Moving on.
But yeah, there's so many points that Fievel has plot armor to where he literally falls to his death. And
Yes.
it's like, this mouse is dead. There's no way to come back. Oh, he's alive again. What the heck?
It's
And
like,
it's
not even like they do a good job of explaining how he survived. It's
Yeah.
never, oh, he randomly was able to grab onto a cloth and it worked like a parachute. It was never, he bounced on a trampoline-like surface when he got to the ground. It was always, he falls and you see him walking in the next scene. It's like, how?
Yeah. There again, plot armor.
Very much so. And plot armor stinks. Like a cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Despite the fact I actually like cats.
So apparently he's
there are cats in America. Do not delude yourself.
But yeah, wow, I got myself.
My apologies.
No. Yeah, I was trying to think of a clever name to call. Iron Mouse.
I am Iron Mouse.
Yeah, so that's one of my big issues is that, Fievel has plot armor so thick that nothing can touch him.
Yeah.
Because we had to have this happy ending at the very end of the film.
A happy ending which could have occurred 5 other times.
Exactly.
Which is, admittedly, I like how they handle it.
Oh, yeah, that's genius.
And it's very well written in there, but at the
Yes.
same time, as a viewer, it's very frustrating. It's like, look up, look around. Do you not hear your son's voice, Papa? Mama, are you deaf? Tanya, you're the smartest mouse in this family besides Fievel. Actually, you're smarter than Fievel because you stayed with your parents.
Yeah.
However, you don't hear your brother's voice. You're the only one who thinks he's still alive. Stupid Mouskowitz.
Wow, actually heard Drew go on a rant. A little one.
It's just a thing.
Just a thing.
It's a bit of logic. It's like, how are all 4 of these mice deaf?
Very true. Very, very true. So, yeah, I think that comes to the end of our review.
I think it does too.
I think so. I think we've gone to, very good depths.
What is your rating for this?
Oh, my rating.
Remember, we use a 10-point scale, unlike the other show.
Yes. I'm very aware of that. So this movie, even though it has a few flaws and, you have a mouse that has plot armor, the thickest of Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to give it an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a amazingly well done film that has this very, moving, touching story of a young mouse trying to find his family, even though he's an idiot.
Yes.
It's ingenious. The animation just, wow, blows my ever-living mind how they did this.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, it's not a Disney movie.
It's Disney-esque.
It's Disney-esque because you have a lot of Disney people behind it. But other than that, it's just a genius movie that's very beloved by those people who know about this film.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never heard of The American Tale, go find it. It's not hard to find. You can find it on Amazon.
If you've only ever watched 5 Goes West,
yes,
go back and look at this one, because this is actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's on a streaming platform somewhere.
It is on Amazon It is available for rent on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah, that's
for like
right.
$3.99.
Okay, that's not
Which,
bad.
admittedly, is what I ended up doing, despite the fact you let me borrow the DVD. Because as soon as I put the DVD in and I saw the words, this film has been modified to fit your television, I thought, oh great, it's full screen. I can't do full screen. Let me see if this is streaming somewhere. I didn't even think to look at this before. It is.
Okay, good. So yeah, if you are interested in American Tale, go check it out. It's a really amazing, wonderful film. It is family friendly.
Yes.
It does deal with dark themes. It's a very dark film. Be like the color and everything's very dark, but it's still a good film that that families can, enjoy on a nice afternoon and just maybe educate your kids about early immigration of the 20th century. Yeah. Either way, yeah. So
that brings us. Oh, I still got to do mine.
Yes, you do.
So, this is a very good, fun movie. I'm probably going to give it a 7.
Okay.
I'm rating it a bit lower because I don't have the nostalgia binge for Don Bluth that you've got.
Okay.
And I just kind of, to me, it's kind of just an okay movie.
I gotcha.
It's does not hold a cup of water to 5 Goes West, in my opinion. But it's still a good movie. It's still enjoyable. Go watch it. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But it's only okay.
Okay, gotcha.
It's still passing by a long shot. It's like a B if I was to give it a school grade.
Yeah. All right.
So that brings us to the end of another episode of the Cellcast. Under normal circumstances, and we will be returning to this come February, we would now be rolling for our next movie. However, considering this is the last of our 4 theme months, and this was actually this month was your choice, Jacob, why don't you tell us what our next movie is?
All right. The second movie of this month will be The Land Before Time.
The first of 15 movies.
The first of 15 movies. The first one. The good one. Either way.
We'll see.
We'll see. We shall see.
We'll see. Anyway.
All right.
I'd forgot to actually put stuff out on Facebook. I just realized.
Whoops.
So, keep an eye next, hopefully I will put stuff up for Land Before Time tonight. So people know to comment on it, but keep an eye out for that. Yeah. You can find us over on our website, thecellcast.podbean.com. There you will find links to our... I'm jumping ahead.
Yes, you are.
Backing up. You can find me on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. You can also go to my photo bin. It's just Drew's photo bin where I take pictures, put them up there when I remember to put them up there. And then what else? Follow me on Letterboxd. I'm trying to do a better job about putting stuff there. Yeah. And follow me on Twitter at GGeorge759. Jacob, where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. That's my personal page. And also, you can find me on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to, quote unquote, draw every day, which I kind of do like during lunch and breakfast, what have you. But yeah, it's me trying to hone my skills as an artist. And also, if you are interested in having some art done as our commission, please let me know on that page via Messenger, and we can talk about what you want and get the details worked out for that. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Jacob Heron, Jacob Heron. You can find that. You can find me now I'm on Letterboxd. And I haven't posted anything currently, but that will change very quickly. I did post my favorite movie, which is Back to the Future. If anybody knows me, that's a duh. But other than that, you can find. Other than that, I'm a distributor for Young Living essential oils. So if you are interested in oils and trying to figure out what these things are, get a hold of me on my Facebook page, and we can start a conversation and maybe improve your life a little bit.
Okay. So, you can find both of us at thecellcast.podbean.com. There you will find links to our to hear us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. Also, you will find a link to our Facebook group, now called Double Feature Podcast Community. It is called this because we are also on another podcast.
Yes, we are.
The Movie of the Week podcast.
Yes.
Which is a podcast where we review live action movies.
Yes.
So if you like what you're hearing me and Jacob say and want a third opinion on movies that are of the more filmed variety instead of animation
wise,
go check us out there. I believe that's at movieoftheweekpodcast.transistor.fm.
I believe so.
Correctly.
I believe so. Also, you can follow that page on Facebook, I believe.
Yes. And follow our Facebook page.
Yes.
As well. Also, you can email us at thecellcast.podbean.com.
Exactly.
No, that's not it. You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
There we go.
That's better. And I think that's everything.
Yeah, just remember that every time we say Cellcast, that's with one L.
Yes.
And also, if you enjoy what you're listening to, please like and subscribe to your favorite podcast directory, and share with your friends, share with 4, 5, 10, 100 people.
Please.
And, get the word out. Get the word out about what we're doing here and grow and spread this community where we can talk more about animation and what our joys of what made our childhood even better. Other than that,
well, I think that's going to round us out. So this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
Next time on
The Cellcast.
My stomach is talking.
Mine too. I wonder what this tastes like.
Ah! He is talking.
No, it isn't.
You should not eat talking trees. Nope, nope, nope. Who are you?
Huh?
My name Petrie.
Petrie, huh? Funny name.
I flied?
No, you falled.
I fall.
You cannot fly? But how did you get way up there?
I climb.
But you are a flyer, not a faller.
Hard things to fly.
I guess it is. We can't do it.
Nope, we cannot do that, all right.